it felt like I was inside a manga. Like that's exactly what
Perfect.
it felt like. Is that what you're going for?
Yeah, absolutely. That was the first thing. Is I was kind of experimenting with different visual styles, and then when I kind of came across the manga one, kind of stumbled upon it while messing around with different things. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like the first time, that's what's kind of cool about VR is you're making the game, you're looking at it on flat screen, and you're like, all right, this looks cool, but the first time you step in VR, you're like, oh, I'm hearing it. And yeah, the first time I tried out that manga style and hopped in VR and saw, I was like, yeah, this needs a game made for it.
Are
And
you big
yeah,
into anime?
oh yeah, absolutely. Huge in anime. That's like my biggest inspiration for it. There wasn't too much content in the game. I was kind of just getting enough stuff in the game to like kind of test everything out. But once it gets going, it's just gonna be just chock full of Easter eggs. Pretty much any kind of weapon that's in any anime, I'm gonna try to get in there, and then I'm gonna have some other little props and like little hints here and there.
Yeah, when I like the second I started for it for people who end up trying this out, and I would highly recommend it. I'll put link your Patreon, everything. It's in the video description. But like the music was pretty loud right at the beginning. That's one thing I noticed right away. But it was
Yeah.
really solid, lo-fi hip hop. And immediately that combined with the manga s visuals, like my mind went right to Samurai Champloo. It's immediately where I went, and hit me real hard right in the feels because that like Samurai Champloo, Cowboy Bebop, staples of my childhood. Like that was beautiful. And I really want to talk to you about anime, like to the point where sometimes I just want to make this an anime podcast. Um, but I want your thoughts. Like, why do you? I don't see. There's not a lot of anime inspired. Well, I'll take that back because that's broad strokes. But I don't see a lot of playable anime type games. Like there's some like you know Alt Deus, I think that's what it is, but that's more like an anime novel that you play through, but you're not really
Oh yeah,
playing
yeah.
it. I just see a lack of really anime based games outside of VR chat and avatars. Um, have you noticed that? Was that something that upset you and you kind of went this way? Because I don't know what your thought of is why there's so little anime in VR.
Yeah, that is really odd. I'm not really sure, and it may be because we're here in the United States, so maybe the people playing Japanese VR games are getting more anime than us. But yeah, I just think it's a missed opportunity, really. Um, it is a little bit harder to do a stylized. You got to kind of get the cell shading in there, get it to look right. I mean, that's a little bit more of a challenge. That's kind of my personal strong point, as you can probably see in the game, is kind of achieving looks and styles. But yeah, I think yeah, I don't know if it was necessarily anime that there wasn't anime games, but I knew when I saw that manga look that I was like, you know what? There's just in general for VR, there's just not enough stylized games. And then yeah, and then I just of course love anime manga. One of my biggest inspirations too was reading Shonen Jump when I was small,
Mm-hmm.
where you would just get like that weekly one, there'd just be different stories. So I kind of want like the game to be like that too, where there's different stories kind of connecting in. Um, but yeah, I wanted to fill in that gap, and also, like I said earlier, I wanted to kind of fill in the gap that, I wanted a game with kind of all the stuff you expect from flat games, um, such as like towns, NPCs you interact with, and I think that's going to go hand in hand with the anime and manga because like my gameplay loop is kind of inspired by like JRPGs,
Mm.
so I think it's gonna fit together well.
You're gonna make a lot of people happy with that, and I think you've got the one thing that I really liked, and I think you had to nail down. Obviously the game's going to depend on or the execution of the game's going to depend on this. However, from the style of it, there's a reason that style I think will bring people back constantly. So I think of someone that like immediately getting anime and manga vibes when I played it. I think back to like why I like anime, and I think of like Samurai Champloo because I played your game. Immediately came to my mind. Then it made me think of Cowboy Bebop, which I do incessantly because I love it. I mean, I got Attack on Titan on my arm. Like when you watch an anime, by the time I get to the end, I get like when a true ending, not just a weekly one, but a true ending. Like I get really emotional, like a really emotional of those, and it's not always emotional because the story's emotionally charged at the end, or it's sad or happy. Like I get emotional because for however many episodes, like Cowboy Bebop views, I think it's like 21, 22, something around there. Um, your journey ends. Like you built this like
Yeah.
passion and love for the characters, the style of art, the world. You really invested your life into it, and then it ends, and it feels like you died a little with them and what the story. But then you go back and you want to watch it again, and then you want to talk about it with friends because you never want it to die. You leave the memory alive by always talking about it. And that's, I think, a powerful thing that VR can use. So a lot of people talk about like the replayability of games is low, but then I look at your game and I go, well, if it nails that manga anime style, and then along with that, I love the game, and maybe I love that companion who was following me. You know, that little cat dude, he was awesome. And you start building these relationships in games that you feel like you did in an anime or manga. That's like, it's never ending content that I could just go back to and play and love. And I think that's a huge strength that you may have here.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then one of the things I kind of like is the story didn't get in there too much, but I'm kind of gonna have it. It's kind of sort of like a Zelda game or a Pokemon game where it's kind of an open-ended type thing where you go and explore, and then it kind of funnels the story into a specific point that happens. And I do want it to be like kind of an open world, and once you beat the game, you can continue playing it. So if I do want to release, DLC or even like spin-offs dedicated to certain characters if people like them, and I do want to put, because I know one time we were talking on the VR Verdict podcast that like when I played the first Destiny game, I loved it so much, but then I beat it and just completely ran out of things to do in it, and I wanted to keep playing it, but there is nothing to do in it. So that what I want to do with Samurai Slaughterhouse is after you beat the kind of main storyline, I'm going to have kind of like side stories that you could do, some really like grindy quests. So if you do want to stay in the world, just keep playing, keep killing stuff, keep racking up like currencies and things like that. There'll be like side quests and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's awesome because I think a lot of people like. I know everyone wants more games, and I agree. I want more games too, so I'm not jaded about that. But I also think a lot of people don't like in virtual reality. I'll speak for myself here. I won't say a lot of people. I'll speak for myself. I enjoy playing a lot of different games, but something about a VR game, I really enjoy playing the shit out of one, and for a while, and to build that world and to learn about it, and I want to keep seeing new stuff or keep playing it. It's almost like comfort food at this point, certain games, and they tend to be multiplayer for me. But I think your game is going to hit the nerve of a lot of people who play a lot of like Blade and Sorcery, Hell Split Arena. Like there's a point where it's not even about the story anymore. Just the beauty of some of the visuals that you can do, some of the attacks like Boneworks and stuff. The people just make crazy things. And when I was playing last night, like one of the I think it's like a frog-like creature in the pond.
Yeah, the kappas.
Yeah, like I made him follow me. Like I kind of was like, come on, you're gonna chase me, and I wanted to get him like closer to like inside one of the buildings because there's like these beautiful shadows, and you could see like your shadow like stabbing him and the blood going, and like visually, it was beautiful for me. And then I wasn't recording, and I wish I was, because then I wanted to record it and share that because I thought it was beautiful, and I was like, if someone sees this was like Kill Bill-esque anime shit, and I want to share it, and I want to keep doing stuff like that, and this was only like a blip of the game. So I think like where you're going with this is really important to a lot of people. I think they're going to find a lot of enjoyment in just what they can do, not only what is available to them, but what they can do from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I try to make it kind of like an open-ended, lots of weird little physics things. Kind of like when you're playing like Halo, or like you said, like Boneworks. It's kind of, you never know what's gonna happen. Like if you throw something, it may fly anywhere. And that was one of the things that I found fun too. Is like when I was making the trailer, I kind of set up these little like cameras that I was able to see like just in VR, and they're like little pill cameras. And I set up all these interesting camera angles, and I was recording. And I realized like making these videos is like so much fun. So like one of the things I actually want to include in is little tools for people to kind of capture their own videos. Right now, and I have a third-person camera, and the build you have like the third-person camera. For some reason, I had this weird idea of it being controlled by like the computer mouse. But the problem I realize is like when people are switching to and from VR, sometimes their mouse or maybe it's virtual desktop or something will cause it to like zoom in super far in and out. So they made the third-person camera kind of useless. But in the new update that's coming on Friday, you'll see it's kind of like it's better fixed. It kind of looks like you're playing a flat game, but there'll be a camera kind of floating behind you. And so while you're playing, you see everything in VR. Everyone else sees from like the third person, so kind of make it a little more cinematic. So I do want to include like some tools because, yeah, there's just lots of cool things you could do with little physics things. And you hit the people, they may fall off cliffs. There's like a kind of cliff area with a bunch of like bridges and these wooden guardrails. And I set up those guardrails so they only break when a dead body hits them. So if you kill someone, they fall over, they'll hit the rail, and that'll like break off.
Oh.
So
That's a good idea. It'll
be perfect for little clips and stuff.
Hit that subscribe button to stay on top of the daily clips, or catch the debates and Fireside Chats live on the main channel down in the video description. See you next time, Space Cowboys.